Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Hello?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Larry, it's good to see you.
Hey, Ben, same. How you been?
Doing good. Doing
Good,
good.
good, good, good.
Let's go Jets.
How about Edwin Diaz? Oh my God. Only the Mets. That could only happen to them.
I'm just checking audio because disappear.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The time is 7:30 p.m. Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Old Bridge Township Zoning Board of Adjustment for March 16th, 2023. I'm James Sullivan. As chairman of the board, I'd ask you now to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag,
of the United States of America
America,
and to the republic
Republic,
that stands
which is stand,
one nation under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty,
and justice.
justice.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Old Bridge Township Zoning Board of Adjustment has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting by prominently posting in the municipal complex an announcement giving the time, the date, the location, and the agenda of this meeting, also by mailing such announcement to the Home News and Tribune, filing a copy of such announcement with the municipal clerk, and finally by posting notice of this meeting on the township website. Ms. C, could we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Sullivan,
Here.
Mr. Connor,
Here.
Mr. Stoner,
Here.
Ms. Chevalier is absent, Mr. Scogno is absent, Ms. Andrews,
Here.
Ms. Testaverde,
Here.
Mr. Izzo. I do see him on the screen. Oh, hold on one second. I think he might be having some technical difficulties. Ms. Barron is absent, Mr. Clancy,
Present.
Ms. Want,
Here.
Mr. Gill,
Here.
and myself, Ms. C. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Izzo, if you're there, could you try and unmute yourself? I saw you up there. Actually, I see your name on the screen, but I think you're having a little technical difficulties. Okay. This meeting is being conducted electronically via the internet by a webinar. It takes patience on all involved, as we are not gathered tonight in the courtroom, but we're doing this live from our homes or our own offices. Simultaneously, this meeting is being televised by OBTV Channel 15, as well as YouTube Live. I remind those watching on any device that there's up to a 30-second delay in communication. This becomes important if you wish to personally join the public portion later on in the evening. Anyone calling in, please lower the device that you're watching us on, or you'll be confused by the time delay when you're trying to talk. I would ask all participants now to please silence your cell phones to avoid any disturbances through the meeting. The meeting would follow the same protocols as if we were in the courtroom. Tonight, we have some general housekeeping matters to handle, and we will have 3 C applications this evening. Those are applications usually by homeowners. In between these applications, I don't see a need for a recess this evening. They should move quickly, but if need be, we would go to recess. And then if you're watching at home, it would be short, and you'll see a sign that we would come back live. As in all applications, there's a public portion that follows the testimony in each application. If you have particular interest in any of the applications this evening, and there's 3, and you wish to ask questions about it, it will be via telephone or cell phone. And I suggest you take notes now. It's a great time to get a piece of paper and a pen, so you'll refresh your memory when you're asked to go on live on the phone. I'm going to turn this over to Ms. C to make a couple other announcements and anything that I may have missed. Ms. C.
Just a few reminders, the zoning board members will be unmuted during the first half of the meeting when they will be required to vote on other agenda items. The zoning board attorney, chairman, and secretary will remain unmuted throughout the meeting. Everyone else will be muted. Once presentation for the application begins, the applicant's professionals will be asked to turn on their video and unmute themselves in the order in which they will testify. For the public, I will announce the last 4 digits of the caller's phone number to come forward and announce their name and address. I will also announce the last 4 digits of the next caller's phone number so that they will be prepared. We will share our screen to display any exhibits. The meeting information will be displayed on the screen multiple times during the meeting so that any resident who wishes to call in and join the meeting can do so. Please be patient. You will have an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. C. I see 2 members of the bar this evening. Brian Clancy representing the zoning board. I see Lawrence Sachs probably representing an applicant. Welcome to both of you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We're going to go by the agenda. We're going to move to resolutions. Mr. Clancy, you ready to run the race here?
Sure thing. We'll get started with, we'll just go right down the line.
Yep, 52-2021Z, RD Management Corp. That's a denial for major preliminary and final site plan with C&D variance. Mr. Clancy.
Correct. This is a resolution, again, denying this application. The applicant RD Management filed an application with the board for preliminary and site plan approval with D variance and also bulk relief. There were a number of hearings held on this: September 15th, 2022, December 1st, 22, February 2nd, 23, and March 2nd of 23. The applicant was represented by Kenneth Pape, one of the attorneys that's involved here. The application was for 120 residential units. 102 of them were supposed to be market rate, and then they were proposing 18 for low or moderate income. There were, let's see, about 18 pieces of evidence that were admitted. During the course of this, we had a number of professionals testify, including Michael Pucci, a professional engineer, John Ray, traffic engineer, Jason Tronco, a landscape architect, Stuart Johnson, a professional architect, and Allison Coffin, a professional planner. The ordinances that they were seeking relief from, in addition to the use, was for maximum front yard setback, maximum front yard setback from other roadways, also rear setbacks and buffering, parking spaces, single island parking length, and curb ratio adjacent to the traffic flow. The board listened to the testimony. There were a number of people who rose to speak about this, including William Miller Esquire from the Foxborough Homeowners Association, Veronica Ryan from Stratford Drive, Steve Bachman, Judy Matola, Gary Hines, Janet Franco, Leonard Finkelstein, Mark Ganacci, Brenda Ganacci, Mariana Capelson, Ron Minichi, Jennifer Bassini, all provided testimony on this for the board to consider. Ultimately, following the presentation and the board's deliberation, the zoning board of adjustment for Old Bridge Township on the 16th of March 2023 has voted to deny the application for bulk for the D variance, specifically 70D1 bulk variance relief for 70C and preliminary and final site plan approval and design waivers, denied for the reasons set forth in this resolution. There will be a motion for approval on this.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. Board members, you've heard the resolution. You were probably present for it. We'll take a roll. Someone want to make a motion to let's approve the denial.
I'll motion to approve denial.
Is there a second?
Second, Andrews.
There's a roll call, please, Ms. C.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Ben, you're
Yes, yes,
Miss Andrews,
Yes.
Miss Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. Izzo. I believe he may still be having technical issues. I see his hand is raised. Chairman Sullivan,
yes. Okay, 07-2022 Z B&R Gas Inc. Major preliminary and final site plan with C&D variance. Mr. Clancy.
Yes, this is an application that came in for B&R Gas Incorporated. They were seeking conditional use relief under 70D3 and bulk relief under 70C for major preliminary and final site plan approval and design waivers. This was for the property at 957 Englishtown Road in Old Bridge. It's block 26021, lot 18 on the tax map. The applicant was represented by Salvatore Alfieri, Esquire. So there was a public hearing on March 2nd of 2023. The applicant had Tyler Vandervalk, a professional engineer, testify, along with John Takina, a professional planner, and Baneed Singh, principal of the applicant. All provided testimony in support of it. There's site improvements to an existing gasoline station to improve layout, some of the aesthetics. There were D3 variance requests for minimum lot size, street property line setbacks, maximum driveway width, and also bulk variances for property line setbacks and maximum driveway width, canopy signs, and also some design waivers regarding parking stalls, distance from the driveway, from some of the intersections, and minimum foot candles at the intersections. There was unrefuted testimony provided by the professionals. The applicant was found to have provided sufficient evidence under the Coventry Square case, which governs conditional uses. And there was the applicant did testify to the unique shape of the property, some of the layout issues that are there. Let's see. Now the approval has been granted. This was the recommendation of the board plan. They comply with the conditions that they comply with the recommendation to the board planner specifically in the review memorandum March 1st of 2023, and includes some no parking striping in there. There's also going to be a turning diagram submitted. There's some conditions regarding the shed, prohibiting tandem parking, no more than 14 cars on the site. There's a landscape contingency, and obviously the subject to approval of all the outside agencies. Mr. Chairman, for your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. Board members, you've heard the resolution as written. Someone want to move it for adoption?
Motion to approve, Connor?
Is there a second?
Second, Testaverde.
Roll call, please, for adoption.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Miss Andrews,
Yes.
Miss Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. Izzo,
Okay, we're going to have difficulty, I think, tonight with Mr. Rizzo.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
Before we proceed, I just want to request Mr. Izzo. Mr. Izzo, can you try to log out and log in again? And I'm going to share with you my my Zoom ID. Try logging in as me. Check your email and log out and log in again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. One, for that assistance. The next resolution is 31-2022Z. It's EOM 538 Route 34 LLC. It was minor subdivision with C and D variances. Mr. Clancy.
Yes, Chairman, this is an application for minor subdivision D1, D4, D5, and C variance relief applications. This is for the property at block 11252.14, block 21.11. It was subject to public hearings on February 2nd, 2023. The applicant was represented by Peter Klauser, an attorney. The applicant, Noah Friedman, testified in support of the application, as well as Gerard Gisario, a professional engineer, and Allison Coffin, a professional planner. Property is located in an R30 low-density residential zoning district. The applicant seeking C and D variance relief. They are going to provide with proceed with the minor subdivision first. They've effectively bifurcated their application, and they'll return to the board for any new proposed uses. Regarding the variance relief that they're seeking, it was maximum gross density, maximum gross area, and maximum landscape area. There was unrefuted expert testimony in support of the application. They are going to subdivide the lot to a new proposed lot. It was opened up to the public. There were no members of the public who testified in regard to this application. The board has found the applicant met the requirements pursuant to 55D-36, and that there would be a hardship if it wasn't granted. They've also taken steps to provide access for firefighting equipment and ambulances and other emergency vehicles to get into there. There's unrefuted expert testimony in support of the application, and the board did vote to approve this, provided that they comply with all the recommendations set forth in the February 1st, 2023 review memorandum from the professionals, as well as all other approvals and taxes. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. Board members, once again, you've heard the resolution as written. Someone move it for adoption, please.
Connor, I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Andrews.
I see Ms. Testaverde's hand was up. So it's moved by Connor, second by Testaverde. Roll call, please.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Miss Andrews,
Yes.
Miss Testaverde.
Yes.
We'll try Mr. Izzo. Chairman Sullivan.
Yes. 52-2022Z, Lois Grosvenor, C and D variances. Mr. Clancy.
Chairman, on that last resolution, the way it's drawn up, they actually have separate approvals listed for minor subdivision D4, D5, and C. I see we only did, I don't know if for the resolution purposes, I think we only need the single vote though, correct? Because this is just a memorialization of that, so.
Right, it's all included in the
Very good, we're ready for the next one.
Right.
My apologies.
not a problem, sir. We'll move on to 52-2022Z.
Yes, this is an application approving D variance for 261 Shoreland Circle in Lawrence Harbor, otherwise known as Block 9, Lot 261. The applicant proposed to reconstruct a home on a property, new two-story single-family dwelling. They're also we're looking to construct a driveway. This is in the R5 medium high density residential zone. It was open to a public hearing on March 2nd, 2023. The applicant seeks D4 relief for maximum floor area ratio and also bulk variance relief for maximum floor area, minimum lot width, minimum front yard setback, side yard setbacks, rear yard setbacks, parking spaces, and minimum side yard for a deck. The applicant testified in support of the application. There's also design waivers for parking stall width and parking stall length and curb length per car. The township planner confirmed the applicant had significantly revised plans to come into conformity with zoning ordinances, and substantial changes had been made to the architectural plans as well. This was a vacant piece of property as a result of a former structure fire, destroying the previous building that was there. And the applicant provided testimony that it could be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, will not impair the zone plan, and will add a benefit to the community. The property is particularly well suited for a new residential home. The matter was open to the public, and adjoining property owner did testify in support of the application that a new home would be a welcome addition to the neighborhood. And the applicant did agree as a condition of approval, so revised the parking driveway area to perpendicular, and will provide a revised plan to landscape calculation to ensure that no additional variance relief is necessary. And the applicant has also agreed to comply with all the recommendations in the February 28th, 2023 review memorandum letter of the township engineer and planner, along with all other subsequent conditions. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. Board members, as to that resolution, you've heard it. Someone want to move it for adoption, please?
Andrews, move it.
Second, Stoner.
Ms. Andrews moves it. Mr. Stoner, second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Connor
yes,
and Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Ms. Andrews,
Yes.
Ms. Testaverde,
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes. Final resolution for the evening, 54-2022Z, Arthur Lessler, C and D variances. Once again, Mr. Clancy.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is for the 70D4 and bulk variance relief on the property at 5 Leanne Court in Old Bridge, otherwise known as Block 13001, Lot 50. This application was at a public hearing on March 2nd, 2023. Property is located in the R20 zone, which is low medium density. The applicant's looking for a single-story addition, put a sunroom on, replace an existing deck that's in there. The applicant testified in support of the application, as well as Brian Adams, who was representative from New Jersey Sunrooms, is going to be performing the work out there. The applicant seeks relief for maximum floor area ratio and also bulk variance relief for front yard setback and a minimum landscape area ratio. The applicant testified the existing deck is not functional and is outdated. The applicant testified and confirmed the property is uniquely shaped, effectively has two front yards, one's on Leanne Court, the other one's on Ellen Circle, and that the floor area ratio in the proposal was de minimis at 0.041. The applicant testified that it will upgrade the area, improve the aesthetic layout of the neighborhood, submitted two pieces of evidence in support of their application. Was opened up to the public. No member of the public rose to comment in regard to it. The board therefore voted to approve this, finding that a hardship exists, considering the unique shape of the lot, and that the public good will not be no substantial detriment to the public good and will not impair the zoning plan. The applicant agreed to comply as a condition of approval with all recommendations made during the course of the proceedings. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clancy. Once again, board members, this is the final resolution. You've heard the words. Someone please want to move this for adoption?
Testaverde, move.
Andrews, second.
Ms. Testaverde, followed by Ms. Andrews has second. Roll call, please, Ms. C.
Mr. Connor,
yes,
Mr. Stoner,
yes,
Ms. Andrews,
yes,
Ms. Testaverde,
yes,
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes. Thank you. You can catch your breath now, Mr. Clancy.
Thank you.
We're going to move forward. We have one completeness waiver for the evening. It's 02-2023Z. It's Mohanad Habash. This is located in the Economic Development Opportunity Zone, EDO 1. It's Block 10, Lot 316. Location is 301 Route 35 for a billiards facility. It's going to require major preliminary and final site plan with the variance. I believe, Mr. Sachs, you are representing the applicant, correct?
Yes, I am.
Thanks.
Yes, I am, Mr. Sullivan. Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well, sir. I'm going to read to the board and into the record a memorandum from Vina Sawant, Township Planner Administrative Officer, dated March 15, 2023, reference this application. Subject property, also known as Block 10, Lot 316, is located at 301 Route 35 in the Economic Development Opportunity Zone, EDO 1. Property contains a strip mall, Harbor Plaza, with associated parking. The applicant is seeking D1 use variance relief and major preliminary and final site plan approval to replace an existing furniture store with a billiards wall. Our office has reviewed the waiver request by the applicant for the following items. These items are all part of the record, and there's 39 of them, and I'm not going to read them in, if that's okay with you, Mr. Sachs.
That's fine, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it is they all are part of the record. I'll move on to where Ms. Sawant further opines, and she says, in 2011, then applicant and owner 301 Harbor Plaza LLC filed an application with the zoning board to demolish an existing vacant building and construct a shopping center containing 9,495 square feet and 47 parking spaces. At the time, the property was located in the community commercial CC zone, where retail uses were permitted. Before variance relief was required for the floor area ratio of the proposed building, and D3 conditional use variance relief was required since requisite bulk requirements could not be satisfied due to pre-existing nonconformities. The board granted the D4 variance, D3 variance, bulk variances, design waivers, and major and preliminary final site plan approval. The shopping center was built and is operational. The current applicant, Mohanad Habash, now proposes to replace an existing furniture store in the plaza with a billiards hall. Billiards and pool halls are not a permitted use in the EDO 1 zone, economic development opportunity, and therefore D1 use variance relief is required. Since the applicant proposes a change in use, the minimum number of parking spaces required increases and a parking variance will be required. Please note that the applicant does not propose any changes to the site and therefore request numerous waiver items. Our office recommends that all items listed above be waived. I'm referring to the 39 that I didn't mention. The applicant has previously indicated that they would submit a community impact statement to address the impact, if any, of the proposed use. The applicant should be advised that the waiving of any completeness items does not constitute approval of any portion of the application, and that any information found to be necessary during the review process must be supplied. Ms. Sawant.
Actually, I do not have any further comments. I just want to remind the board, this Harbor Plaza is fully developed. The applicant is not proposing any changes to the site. The only thing that is changing is the former furniture store will be replaced by the billiard place. So on the site, there are no changes. The changes will be actually, it's almost like a tenant fit out. And because the use is not permitted, the applicant seeks an approval from the zoning board. So I have no issues requesting the board to grant these waivers. Thank you,
Ms. Sawant. Yeah, for the board's knowledge, this property is located on Route 35 North at Lawrence Parkway. If you're familiar with the harbor front, Hoffman's Pharmacy sits right next to it in a circle. There was old stores there, and I was actually on the board when this was given approval for the build. So it's been in existence since, I believe, 2011 or thereabouts. I'm sure Mr. Sachs will fill us in on that. So this is as I said, it's a fully developed strip mall, if you would call it. And they want to change the usage of one of the buildings they're in. Mr. Sachs, for comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate Ms. Sawant's review of this. The reason that there's so many waivers is, again, because your checklist requires all these requirements. They primarily pertain to site when there's going to be a change to the site. And certainly there's no change to the site whatsoever. It is just going to be a change in use of the furniture store to a billiards facility. We will provide that community impact statement that Ms. Sawant referenced. And we look forward to appearing in front of you as soon as possible. And we will certainly address the parking issue. We've prepared a traffic report, and we will have that testimony provided to you when we come back before the board.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sachs. All right, board members, any questions of Mr. Sawant or Mr. Sachs? It's pretty straightforward. It's just a waiver for the items on the actual application will come before the board to be heard. All right, no one's raised their hand. Someone in favor of moving allowing the waivers? There's 30, what did I say? 39 of them on there. Ms. Testaverde, you're muted.
I move in favor.
Okay. Is there a
Connor,
second?
second.
Who is it?
Connor, second.
Connor seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Ms. Andrews,
Yes.
Ms. Testaverde,
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sachs, for appearing before the board. We'll
Thank
see-
you, Mr. Chairman. And Ms. Sawant, we're looking at April 6th, most likely.
Yes, I would need the community impact and the architectural plan that we discussed, but otherwise we should be all set.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Good seeing everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good night, Mr. Sachs.
Thank you.
All right, we have 3 applications we'll move forward on. We'll take them in order as well. First one is 1-2023Z. It's Oni Hamadi. This is in the medium density residential. It's R15. This is located block 11000.11, lot 7, 16 Crabtree Road for a shed. This is a C variance. Applicant seeks relief for the square footage and height of an existing shed. Is Mr. Hamadi here?
Yes, present.
Oh, there you are. Okay, I see you now, sir. You testified at the last hearing we had for you, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so Mr. Clancy, he's still under oath, correct?
Yes, he was aware that he is sworn and his oath continues.
Okay, you understand that, Mr. Hamadi, right? There's no sense in swearing you again. You've already been put under oath. I think when we last left, you have a shed on your property that I guess is slightly larger than accepted, right? And I believe what we asked you to do was get a letter from the HOA. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And I believe we have received that letter.
Yes.
And Mr. Clancy, it's a letter of no interest, correct?
That's right. I'm actually looking at it as we speak, and it plainly states that the Lake Ridge HOA board take no interest in the construction of the shed and the property at 16 Crabtree Road. Signed by the board.
All right. Mr. Hamadi, is there anything else you want to tell us? I'm going to go to Mr. Gill right after you.
No.
No, everything you've already put on the record is that fact, correct?
That's correct.
All right, Mr. Gill.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, everyone. I really don't have much to add from my previous testimony, as we had discussed, just for quick clarification, and just as a reminder to the board members and the public, that this application was the subject of a permit application. The applicant was operating under the presumption that the way we calculated the dimensions of a structure were in line with the way that the, I guess, manufacturer calculates the square footage of a structure. So when we told him it needs to be 20 by 30, he went out and purchased a 20 by 30 structure. The problem was that we measure from exterior dimensions. The manufacturer measures interior dimensions, and therefore there's a 3 to 6 inch deficiency on the width or exceedance on the width and the length, which also results in a slight increase in the interior square footage, which is over our limit of 600 square feet. The other issue, which is the larger issue, has to do with the height of the structure. These are spec built buildings that allow for a wide range of heights. And what was presented to us was a 14-foot structure, but based on the design scheme that this particular model could be built to, it could be built to, I think, up to 14 feet high at the wall height of the structure. So when you plop the roof on top of that, it gets a little bit higher. And in this case, he didn't go 14 feet. He went, I think, 12 feet plus or minus, which resulted in an overall height of 15 foot, 8 inches, if I'm not mistaken, which is approximately 8 inches over our limit of 15 feet. And he's here for that reason.
Was there any that you recall, if you have notes on either Mr. Clancy or Mr. Gill? Obviously that we had said that there was not to be any, I believe, commercial operation, et cetera. Do you have any of that record, Mr. Clancy, or no?
Yes, there was testimony that it was not being used as commercial, and I believe we also had testimony from the applicant that this property would not be used as living space.
Mr. Gill, do you have anything else that you remember, that you recall we put on the record? I don't have my notes in front of me from that.
I believe when the chairman was discussing it last, there was discussion about potentially making that a condition of approval. I don't believe that was, formally introduced as a concept, but that's what my notes indicate. There was discussion on it.
Okay, so Mr. Clancy, we would want those as part of the resolution, correct?
Yes, that would, if that's what the board would like to put in as a condition of approval, we will add that to the proposed resolution if the board approves it.
Right, and also that we would have to include that we've now received that letter of no interest from the homeowners association.
Correct.
Mr. Amati, unmute yourself, please. Yeah, there you go. Is there anything you don't agree with from what we've said?
No, everything's correct.
So should we approve this, you will comply obviously with all those requirements.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Okay. I still have to open it up to the public though first. And well, I'm going to ask my board members first, and then I have to go to the public. Board members, any questions of the applicant or myself or Mr. Gill or Mr. Clancy?
Andrews?
Miss Andrews, go ahead.
Yeah, I seem to remember that his next door neighbor appeared and she wanted some, he had said that he would put something up so that when she looked out, she would not just see the wall. And just to make sure that that's going to be included in the resolution, that there's going to be something to beautify that particular side. One of his next door neighbor testified at the meeting.
I agree with you, but I think we'll ask Mr. Hamadi, who's under oath. Isn't that it's on her property and not your property? That those items, is there shrubbery?
No,
There's nothing in between, right?
no, this is a fence.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
just to refresh the board's memory too, the discussion was that she was concerned about how that structure would look. And
Okay.
she had indicated that her and Mr. Amati had several conversations wherein he said that he would install either some arborvitaes or some other type of flora to help screen the property.
Okay.
The board discussed that, but my notes don't indicate that the board felt one way or the other about including that as a condition. I don't think Mr. Hamadi opined on it either.
Mr. Hamadi, what's your feeling?
I do want to do it, but I don't have any money. Right now, it's a little tight. So, future, hopefully, if everything goes well for me, and, I do have a little girl at home that I have to attend to, and I'm the only one working, so.
I understand that, but we can't leave open-ended. We can't have an open-ended resolution like I hope to. I'm not trying to be funny, but we either
Okay.
have to agree or not agree to put something up. And Mr. Clancy, would I be correct in that?
Yeah, there's been discussion about it. The board could make it a condition of approval if they were so inclined. The neighbor, I'm reviewing my notes as we're talking as well, was Rosemary Rovina. And she requested that he install some sort of landscaping to help shield her view of the yard. And there was some discussion about it taking some time to grow in or fill in.
Of
So
course.
that's kind of where it was left.
I would agree, and I think good faith effort, Mr. Hamadi, might go a long way.
Sir, I do agree with you on that.
Okay.
Do I have a time limit to put up the trees?
Could we say that you'd have some plantings in before the end of the year?
Sure. I'll make my best. I'll make my best of effort. Sure.
Okay. Mr. Clancy, could we put something in there before the end of 2023 that there would be the beginnings, hopefully, of some growth?
Yeah, we can, we'll add that as a condition of approval if the board is so inclined to set that as a proposal for
Okay.
voting. Sure.
Board members, any comments on that? None?
No.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Hamadi? Because then I'm going to go to the public.
No, that'll be all, sir.
All right, thank you. This is matter 01-2023Z, located 16 Crabtree Road for a shed, a built shed for a variance relief. Numbers in the screen, however you're watching us, there are a list of phone numbers. If you're interested in commenting on this matter, please call one of those phone numbers at this time. This matter is probably going to go to a vote tonight, so there will not be another public portion. So therefore, if you want to make a comment, now is the time to do so. Ms. C, is there anyone in queue?
There are no raised hands.
Okay, we'll give it about 30 seconds or 45 seconds or so. Once again, if you're watching at home and you have comments on this, now is the time to call. There will not be another public portion because it is probably going to reach its finality tonight. All those numbers on the phone, if you're looking at any of the other applications you want to call in, make sure you write those phone numbers down now so you can get in queue later when we have the other two applications. Anybody call in yet, Ms. C?
No raised hands.
Okay, Mr. Clancy, we've given enough notice.
Yeah, we waited, I believe, a full minute, it looks like. I think we're on good territory here.
Okay, you said we've waited one, right?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to close the public portion. Final comments, Mr. Hamadi, any?
No, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Board members, any comments or questions before we call for a vote? All right, hearing none, does someone move in favor of moving the application for approval?
Connor, I'll move it for approval.
Okay.
Second.
I'll second it. Let's get a roll call then.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Miss Andrews,
Yes,
Miss Testaverde,
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes, Mr. Hamadi, I give my approval as well. We'll have a resolution next meeting, Mr. Clancy?
I expect so. It's mostly done.
Mr. Hamadi, please be a good neighbor and keep good relations. You seem to be a man of your word and you already put that on the record. So we're hoping you stick by that. And best of luck in the future. Okay, sir?
Thank
Next
you.
month.
Thank you, everybody.
Next meeting, there'll be the resolution.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you for appearing. Next matter is 07-2023Z. It's Mykola Verbashenko. It's in the medium high density residential R6 block 18007 lot 8. Location 1284 Englishtown Road, paver driveway and patio requiring C variance. Applicant seeks relief for an existing paver driveway and patio. Is Mr.
Rabushenko.
Oh, there you are, sir. I see you. You're going to be the only one testifying in this matter, sir?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have the board attorney swear you in first, and then I'll make a few comments to you. Mr. Clancy.
Okay, sir. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you provide before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down and just state your full name.
Mykola Rabushenko.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. Yes, sir. When these matters of smaller issues that come before the board from homeowners, normally people are not represented by an attorney. I'm assuming you're not, otherwise you would have told me that. And you probably have you told me you have no other witnesses, so you're going to do this on your own. So what we need you to do is in simple terms, as a resident of the township, just we're other residents of the township, explain to us what you did, how you did it, why you did it. I believe what's happening here is you went a little bit overboard on the setbacks as I read this, but we'll get to that when we talk to Mr. Gill. But just tell us the situation there, how that happened, and whatever else you'd like us to know. Then we're going to talk to Mr. Gill about what you did, and maybe the board will have some questions. You may have some questions from us. Afterwards, I'm going to go to a public portion, see if anybody has any comments on that. And then when that's all done, I'm going to ask you if you'd like us to take a vote on your matter. Okay, sir, so you can proceed at your own pace. Bear in mind you're under oath.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually go a little bit over like 5 by 10, which is 500 square foot of pavers, and I have a conversation with the zoning rep, I'm going to say, and he actually advised our decision. He recommended actually to go and get the variances. It's much better, and I mean the property itself, it's actually it will look much better, and it will work for me because this way it will look much cleaner than just to have a grass on the side.
Okay. Why don't you tell the board the setup of your home? What's next to you? What's behind you? What's in front of you?
On the front is just a 12. It's a highway. 5. I mean English Town Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the back is just the grass and the flowers. So I mean, we purchased the property in the 2011. Applied for all of the permits. The house was unfinished by the previous homeowner who died, and we was working hard to make everything nice and pretty up there. So on the side, actually, I mean, almost everything is over there is existing, right? So we just all of the stuff which is done over there, it is just a cosmetic, and I understand that I have to fully comply with the paver situation. So
is there let's say fencing in between your home and the next home? Is there homes on both sides?
Yes, it is homes on the both sides, and it is existing fencing, which was not in we didn't touch. We just painted and put the stucco over, and it is also the gate. So it's just a paver situation, which is needs approval.
All right. If I were living next door to you, I probably wouldn't even know, in other words, because you have a fence there, right?
Yes. And we really have, for all of the years, good relationships and stuff. So I'm only improving view and of English Town Road, I'm going to say like this.
No, I understand, sir. We just have to put certain matters on the record, certain issues, so
no,
can actually make a fair judgment on this. I believe because of the pavers, I think you went over the landscape area that you're supposed to have. Let me go to Mr. Gill now. He's going to fill us in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the applicant stated, there was a home here that was partially renovated and was sitting kind of fallow for some time. The home has since been renovated, and as part of that renovation, there have been several site improvements that were made. I'll read directly from the denial application. A paver driveway and rear yard paver patio area was constructed along the sides and rear of the home. The driveway was constructed at the width of the lot, which is 70 feet, where a maximum of 30 foot is permitted. The driveway is 0 feet from the side yard property lines, where a minimum of 5 feet is required. The rear yard patio was constructed from the wall that he was describing, so it's approximately 2 feet from the property line, where 3 foot is required. And as the chairman already stated, the improvements, the paver block that was installed along the front side and then immediately behind the home, bring the landscape area ratio to 40.43, where a minimum of 45% is required. So there's an excess of coverage of approximately 500 square feet. The applicant requires the bulk variances for the driveway width, the side yard setback minimum, landscape area ratio, and any other variances or waivers that were not specifically identified. This property was improved with a driveway on the left-hand side as you face it from the street. Looking at Google imagery and street views over the years, we'll say improvised driveway was extended across the front of the house, which anyone who's traversed Englishtown Road knows is fairly common. Sometimes people park on the lawns and stuff like that. So there were these areas that kind of became driveways that were never legitimate. And when this applicant took over, he was attempting to improve the property, I guess, giving him the benefit of the doubt, not understanding that there were certain standards that needed to be complied with. He did speak and meet with our office, and we gave him the option to reduce the coverage to allowable limits, or to seek variance relief, based on the fact that the width of the front has become a parking lot. There was really no way for him to effectively create a conforming proposal that would alleviate the need for some type of variance. And in the alternative, he decided to come to the board and ask for all of the previously mentioned relief.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Gill. Landscape area ratio, you said, setback, and what was the other one?
It's for the side yard setbacks for the driveway, the width of the driveway, the overall width of the driveway, and the landscape area ratio. I think it's important to note that the curb cut remains the same. It's approximately 10 feet, which is still on the left side of the property as you face it from the street. But in effect, the entire front yard has been paved with paver block, or has been improved with paver blocks. So it's basically a one wide driveway along the area, a large parking area, which is not entirely consistent with the neighborhood, but certainly it's appeal to those who like that.
Yeah, some of those have done that. I'm aware of that. While it is not common, I agree with you. There are some homes that have done that. Questions from the board of the applicant? None. Mr. Clancy, anything?
No, nothing to add.
Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Let me see what the public has to say, if that's okay with you, sir. Okay, this is matter 7-2023Z. Location is 1284 Englishtown Road, paver driveway and patio. Once again, if you're at home watching on some device, there's phone numbers in front of you right now to call in if you have an interest in this matter. Now would be the only time to call, because we will close this matter out tonight. There would be no further public portion other than this evening. If you'd like to speak on this matter, the board would be more than happy to listen to you. And please call in one of those phone numbers at this time. Miss C, is there anyone in queue?
There are no raised hands.
Okay. We'll give it a little bit more. Once again, folks, this is the matter at 1284 Englishtown Road. This would be the time to call if you have comments and you wish to speak before the board or ask questions. Please call one of those numbers.
Mr. Chairman, while we're waiting, I just want to give Mr. Izzo an opportunity to test his audio, because I believe he joined us just a few minutes ago.
Perfect timing. Mr. Izzo? Do you have, Mr. Izzo, did you?
Hi,
Okay.
Kenny.
There you go, sir. We can hear you.
I've been working on it for an hour. I'm trying to be with you.
Well, thank you. And we knew you were there. We knew there was just technical difficulty. I'm glad it got straightened out.
Yes.
It takes a little getting used to, and you'll pick it up soon enough.
Thank you.
Thank you for your perseverance.
Hey.
Okay, Ms. C, has anybody else come in queue?
There are no raised hands.
There are none. Mr. Clancy?
Yeah, we're coming up on the 1 minute mark now, Chairman. I think it's fair to close it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clancy. I'm closing the public portion. Board members, any final comments, questions? Sir, you have any, as the applicant, you have any further comments or questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, well, we thank you for appearing. Someone interested in moving this for an approval? This would require, the landscape area ratio is at, it's at 4.43. It's supposed to be 45%. It's at 40%, 40.43%. And it's side yard setbacks and the driveway width. Did I cover everything, Mr. Gill?
There's a rear yard setback too, Mr. Chairman, I
Okay,
believe.
thank you. And a rear yard setback. Understanding that, is someone interested in moving this?
I'll move it, Stoner.
Mr. Stoner moves it. Is there a second?
Connor, I'll second.
Mr. Connor seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Miss Andrews,
Yes.
Miss Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. Izzo,
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Sir, you know, it's great when you improve your own homes, but check with the authorities first. It's a lot easier than having to do it 2 times. And in this case, you're getting approval to leave it, but you could very well have been told by the board no, and that's not a good feeling. So it's easier to check beforehand when you're going to do projects, but we thank you for your beautification to your own home. My vote is yes. There'll be a resolution available next meeting, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for appearing. All right, final app matter of the evening, 08-2023Z. It's Dennis Smirnoff and Asaya Akatova, I hope. I pronounced that close. Okay.
Yes.
I apologize if I didn't. This is the medium density residential R12 zone. This is block 16005, lot 152. Physical location is 152 Gold Mine Lane. This is for a deck requiring C variance. Where is the applicant? I'm looking. Oh, I see you now, ma'am. And is it Asaya?
Asiya
Asaya, and would you say your last name, please?
Akhatova.
Akatova. Are you going to be the only one testifying in this matter?
Yeah, my husband would be Dennis Smirnov.
And he will as well? Okay. The board attorney is going to swear both of you in, and then we'll take your testimony, okay?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Clancy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you both raise your right hand, please? Yep. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you provide before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hands down and then just one at a time, say your names again, please, for the record.
My name is Asiya Akhatova.
My name is Dennis Smirnov.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Clancy. If you were watching the last application, both of you heard that I explained to the homeowner. You're not represented by any legal people or professionals, so you're going to do this on your own. And I assume that it says it's in reference to a deck extension for your existing 2-story single-family townhouse. So what we would like you to do is just tell the board what you want to do, how you're going to do it, or if you did it already. I'm not sure on this one. You may have some questions for us. We may have some questions for you. We may have to check with the attorney on some matters, and then we will go to a public portion. And then, of course, if you wish, we'll take a vote on your matter. So one at a time, you can tell us what you want us to know about this deck build.
Sure. I will start. So we are having a project. We want to raise the deck. We already have an existing deck, and we have a small piece of land attached to that deck. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to raise it to make it like almost at the same like height as the existing deck. The main purpose of this is like safety purposes, because on the existing deck, we had only small gate, which is easy. And we have sliding doors on the kitchen, which is the exit to the deck. So for kids, it's very easy, like to run out from the home, or for people from outside, it's like, this is absolutely unsafe to have this like small gate to open. So you can open the sliding door and be like at the middle of the house in the kitchen. So what we wanted to do to raise the deck and put the fence just for safety and like take off the gate, of course.
Okay. Sir, you want to add?
And yeah, we saw a lot of people do this in our complex, like all of them, like 65%, maybe more.
They have existing, the similar projects are done in the neighborhood.
Okay, and why don't you tell the board, you live in Foxborough Village, correct?
Yes, and we did receive approval from Foxborough Village Association as well.
I was going to ask you that, and I've already seen that letter, and I believe the board has seen it as well. Mr. Clancy, that is a letter of no interest, correct?
Yes, I do see one from Foxborough Village here, and I guess they took a look at an application on their own and they have, their letter says that it's approved. So it looks like there's nothing else needed from Foxborough Village. That they're very happy that they're maintaining and preserving the property and the property values there. It doesn't, I don't believe it specifically says they have any registered objections to this application going forward, but it mentions they're approved on their end, and I'm comfortable with holding that as a letter of no objection from them.
Yeah, thank you. I took that the same, and that's why I wanted your legal opinion on it, and that's what I thought. And having heard them to testify that, I guess there's several other people that have done this on their land. It must be common in there after the build. That's those homes were built in what, the late 80s, ma'am?
1985.
85. Okay, so I bet you say it's common that people have done this, right?
Yep.
Yeah, very common. We walked around. It's like almost every second home has like similar projects, like
Okay.
raised decks.
And you feel that this is going to be safer as well, correct?
It is
Yeah.
safety, like we have 3 kids, like, and one child is very small, so she can go to the porch, open the gate and be outside on the street. And it's very like unsafe. And for me, for safety, when my husband is not home, we had like small, tiny gate. There is no keys, like nothing. You can open the gate, be on the porch, and you're directly entering the kitchen, like, which is middle of the house, like next to the bedroom.
Okay. So for safety's sake, you would like this done, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I'll go to the board members. If there's any questions on this, just raise your hand. Mr. Izzo, go ahead, sir.
Is there any kind of a color code?
What, sir?
Color code?
Like the deck is going to look like all the other decks?
Yes.
Yep.
It will look the same as the existing deck already. The
Perfect.
fence will be a little bit different color, but like we can make it as close as possible to like
Because
what
I've
other
seen
people have.
pictures, I
Like,
think you provided pictures of other, somebody provided the
Yep.
pictures. So as long as it mimics that,
Yep.
I have no problem.
very similar project to others, yeah.
Anybody else have comments? Okay. Mr. Clancy, anything?
To Mr. Izzo's point, I just would point out, I don't know if you had the benefit of actually looking at the letter. The homeowners association actually approved a very specific color for this. It's actually Benjamin Moore Tudor Brown number 62. So there's been some real specific stuff, and it seems like that's in accordance with what's going on at those improvements, the various improvements in the area. So they're on top of it.
Good.
And this deck is not going to be enclosed, right? And that's not what your plans are, to enclose it to make another room, correct?
No, it's on the street. It's on the top of the garage. It's like, it's not covered absolutely. It's outside.
Okay, but as a condition of approval, we would ask you that not be enclosed and turned into another room. You would agree with that condition?
We don't have any plans to
No,
make a room over
it's
there
gonna be like,
on the street. Yeah.
All right. Do you have any objection to me going to a public portion at this point?
No.
It's part of what I have to do, so
no.
I just wanted to see if you were objecting to it, that's all. It's okay, right? All right.
This is first time for us, new
Yeah.
experience. So like,
okay.
honestly,
Well,
like we're listening very carefully to every question.
it's perfect. You'll walk away with the learning experience tonight.
Oh, yes.
This is matter 08223Z. The location is 152 Gold Mine Lane for a deck. This is located in Foxborough Village. If you want to be heard on this matter, once again, phone numbers are in front of you on whatever device you're watching us on this evening. We would ask you to call in at this point. There will not be any further testimony on this tonight, after tonight. So this would be the only occasion, should you want to comment on the build of this deck. It has to be done tonight, and it has to be done before we end our meeting this evening. So now is the time to call. Please use one of those phone numbers if you have an interest. Ms. C, is there anyone in queue?
There are no raised hands.
All right, thanks. Anything else while we're waiting, folks, that you want to tell us about your build?
The porch?
Yeah.
Yeah, we raised the deck. Actually, it was like about like year and a half ago. We didn't know that we need to get a permit because since we saw a lot of already similar projects nearby, we got an approval from like association and started the project. He was working and everything. And then while we were on vacation, the neighbor said that they found this like stop working immediately, like we need a permit and everything.
I would tell
So
you, I would tell you, and I would tell all people that are listening, if you go on the township's website and you go into zoning areas, there at the end of that, if you search, you can find out what's like okay and what's not okay. You can find out
Yeah.
when you need permits for specific items that happen to your home and you're going to make repair. It's very helpful. And if that does not help you, you can always call someone at the township in the building department or the zoning department, and they'll be glad to give you that information. Has anyone come into queue?
There are no raised hands.
I'm going to
Chairman.
close the public portions. That's okay, Mr. Clancy?
Yes, we give ample time, Mr. Chairman. Thank
Board
you.
members, this seems pretty straightforward. It's got the approval of the association and specifically what color paint to use. So I guess they're on top of it. There is going to be an agreement that would never be enclosed to become another room. Correct, Mr. Clancy?
That's correct. We will include that as a condition of approval if the board would be so inclined to approve this application.
Okay. Anybody have any final comments before I call for a vote? None? Someone interested in moving this for approval?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Ms. Testaverde, seconds, roll call, please.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Stoner,
Yes.
Ms. Andrews,
Yes,
Ms. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. Izzo,
Yes,
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes, certainly. Good luck on that build and for the safety of your children and your own home.
Thank you.
I wish.
Thank you very much.
well. And like I said, always look first, check out, ask questions first and then build after.
Now we know, yeah.
That was a good
You'll have a
lesson. Thank you.
resolution, you'll have a resolution on this matter at the next meeting. Thank you for appearing before the board. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We've come to the almost close of the meeting, general public comments. If anyone wants to comment from the public, now's the time to do it. Call in on one of those numbers, but we're only going to be in session for a couple more minutes. Board members, anything that you have that you'd like to bring up? Comments, questions? None. Mr. Clancy, anything on the legal front?
No, I don't think I have any updates or anything along those lines, but we will, we'll get these, the 3 resolutions that were approved tonight, put together and have them for the board, on the next meeting.
Great. Mr. Rizzo, I wish you well on that. If you have any questions, you can certainly call the township and their IT department will help you out on that if you have any further problems. It's okay. It happens. I had to call, I had to send an email to Miss C earlier this evening because I lost my invitation. So I thought maybe the board didn't want me to talk tonight. So that was so I would stay home. Fortunately, she was able to do that for me and get me a invitation. Do we have anybody that's called in that has anything to say?
There are no raised hands.
All right, thanks. I'm going to close that general public comment session. When is our next meeting, ma'am?
April 6th.
April.
And that will be in person.
Okay, board members, if no one has any further business, we can move for a recess. It'll be April 6th, and that'll be live in the courtrooms. Someone want to move for an adjournment?
Andrews, move it.
Miss Andrews, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. We stand adjourned. If you're going to celebrate on St. Patrick's Day, please be safe.
Thank
Good night.
you.
God
Good
bless. Bye.
I could have swore I used.
You can't because you don't have a camera on.